Okay, so I'm so excited for this month. There's going to be so many promotions and the whole another level bonuses going on. It's just going to be amazing. So I wanted to get Laura on here. She's amazing. She's a diamond. To just talk to us and tell us about what she does. So Laura, will you tell us your story when you joined, all of that?
Yeah, okay. So let's start to introduce myself. I'm Lara. I am a diamond. I've been in the company for a year and a half now. It'll actually be like a year and 7 months tomorrow. So we're coming up on 2 years. Um, so when I got started, I had actually just moved across the country from Missouri to Delaware. I had to leave school. I was $30,000 in debt. If I didn't pay that, I couldn't return to school. So obviously, I left. I moved across the country to live with my best friend and her parents, so her family, until I kind of like figured what I was doing out. And then I think like 5 months into me living with them, I got an apartment. So I moved into my apartment. I picked up 2 extra jobs, and um, about bless you. I'm not sure what that was. um, so about a couple months into that, um, I just could not afford my apartment. I was behind in rent and I got evicted. And at this point, I didn't really have anywhere else to go. So the same family that I lived with, they actually own a hotel. So they let me move in and stay until I figured everything out, until I got back up on my feet, got up everything. So um, I moved into the hotel. I picked up an extra job. So at that time, I was working 3 jobs. I was averaging in like 75-hour weeks. I would get up at like 6 a.m., go into work at 7, and run across town because at this time I was completely broke. I didn't have a car. So I was literally running across town to like make it to my other jobs. Um, and I would work from like 7 a.m. until 1 or 2 a.m. and get up and do it again the next day, 7 days a week. Didn't have any days off ever. Um, and so at this point, I had been in the hotel for a few months, and around like, I want to say like February or March is when my enroller started following me and I started watching her journey. And at the time, she was just posting about like getting her nails done and posting about like vacations and posting about all these awesome things. But at the time, that just wasn't realistic for me. That's not what I wanted. I didn't give a shit if my nails were done. Sorry, I don't mean to cuss, but I didn't care. Like that was not what I wanted. I didn't care about vacations. I literally just wanted out of my situation. But I loved her profile, so like I kept following her. Um, and then on May 2nd, she posted a post talking about how if you want something to happen, then you have to make it happen for yourself, and life doesn't happen to you. You make life happen. And that is when it stuck. And as soon as she posted that, I read it and I called her from her phone number that she left at the end of the post. And so I called her and I was like, hey, like, I know that you don't know me. I've never liked any of your posts. We've never talked before, but like, I've been following you for 4 months now and I want in. What do I have to do? And so she told me, it's $99, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, let me call you back. And this goes through our heads all the time. We're probably like, yeah, okay, she's going to call me back. Right. Like, I'm never going to hear from her again. But when I hung up the phone, I went and checked my bank account. I had $4 in my bank account. That was it. And I was like, no, like, screw it. Like, I'm doing this. And I took my TV that had been sitting in the hotel room because I just had a bunch of crap just laying around because I didn't have my own place. I took it to a pawn shop and I sold it. And I always forget exactly how much it was. It was like 102, 103. And it was like exactly what I needed when I joined. Like when I joined, so I lived in Delaware at the time. There was no tax. I think it ended up being like $102 and some cents with like shipping. And I just had an extra dollar. It was like so perfect. And ever since then, I've been running. I don't know. I think that's it. Is that what you want?
Yes, I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so how long did it take you to promote to diamond?
Okay, so when I first got started, It was like ignorance on fire, went crazy, signed my first 4LCs in 24 hours. I was crazy. At the end of like my first month, I think I had like, I don't know, like 8,000, 9,000 PBV.
Wow.
And then I got my first check and it was like $200. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. Like, this is exactly what I joined for. I'm good. Like, I'm comfy. I'm complacent. I'm good. And so I just did what I was doing. Like, I was just like, keep putting in the bare minimum. Cause like, I only wanted 200. I didn't see this as my full time. I didn't see anything else. I just wanted that much. And that's what was going to get me through. And so I sat at distributor for May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months before I had a complete and utter breakdown because I wasn't commission qualified last October. And so I didn't even get a paycheck. And I was like, shit, what am I doing? You know, like, this is not okay. At this point, I had already quit one of my jobs. So I was only working 2 jobs and wasn't getting paid for it works. And I kind of just, I tell this all the time and people don't believe me, but I literally like broke down on my bathroom floor and just like looked myself in the mirror and I was like, you're worth more than this. You are done being comfy and let's do this. And so that November was when I started like working hard. And so in December, I promoted to executive for the first time. January, I promoted to Ruby. February, I promoted to Emerald. And then I promoted to Diamond in April. So it took me 11 months to go Diamond. But from the time that I was like working, it took me 5.
That's awesome. Okay, so what do you do now? Do you still work or do you?
No, I actually quit my jobs as an executive.
That's awesome.
I don't know why. Like, it worked, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, I walked into work one day and I was just like, I don't want to do this. You know, at this time I had just turned 21 and I was still hostessing. Like, I wasn't serving, I wasn't bartending, I was just hostessing. I was making $10 an hour and I thought that was like freaking brilliant. Like, that was awesome, but no. Like, I was making, at that job, I was making like $800 a month, and that's like just under an Emerald check. And so when I went executive, I was just like, screw it, I'm going Diamond. And I quit. I literally left at the beginning of February. Oh no, I wasn't an executive. I was a Ruby. Sorry, my bad. But so I quit as a Ruby and I was just like, this is it. Like, I have to make it work. And I just busted ass and went Diamond 2 months later.
I love that because in You're a Badass at Making Money, she talks about how she went and bought like a new car she couldn't afford because then after she bought it, she knew like, okay, like if I don't pay for this, it's gonna get taken away. So I have to make the money. Yep. So I love that. That's awesome. Okay. Will you explain to us like your day by day? How many people you message? How many people do you usually enroll?
All right. This might freak some people out, but let me just remind you that I do this full time and my plan is to go ambassador by the end of next year. So I'm crazy. So I don't have a schedule. I know a lot of people ask me that. I just kind of like go in. I just know what I have to do by the end of the day and I just do it as I go. So I don't really have a schedule. However, so I run 3 Instagram accounts. And by doing that, I try to message like 300 to 400 on each one a day. So all together, I'm messaging about 1,000 a day. So, and then I also do like unsend, resend when I'm like waiting to send more messages. I normally send like 20 to 30 an hour and I don't get blocked because on each account, I'll send a different message. And when I'm messaging, I like go to their account, I like 3 pictures, I comment, and then I message them. So it's taking like an extra like 10 to 15 seconds, but it's spacing it out like perfectly. With following, I use Captivate. So it's basically doing the work for me. So that's really nice. I think I follow like 1,000 people on each account a day. Just depends on like how busy I am. I always try to hit 500 on each account minimum because that's like 2 hours worth of work. It's not that hard. And then when it comes to like posting, I post 3 minimum. Like if I'm like crazy busy and I can't do anything, I will post 3 times. But if I'm like just hanging out, I post like 4 to 6. Just kind of depends on like what I need. If I'm meeting like loyal customers, I'm not really going to post as much because I'm going to message more. But if I'm meeting distributors, then I'm going to post like 6, 7 times a day.
So do you think, or hold on, let me figure out how to phrase this.
Okay, you're fine.
Do you message for both LCs and DTs or just LCs?
So I only message for LCs, and the reason why is I found that when I was messaging for DTs, I would get a lot of people like interested, but I never like sealed the deal because they didn't want it, or they wanted it but they didn't need it. You know what I mean? And so like they think that it's cool and it sounds awesome that you get paid for working on social media, but like they don't see the vision. They don't see like, they don't have like a hunger for it. And so when I message for LCs, I'm either going to sign an LC or I'm going to sign a DT no matter what. And so if they're ready to order the product and they like it and they like the sound of it and they're good with the price, I'm going to sign them up as an LC. The only other time that they aren't going to sign up as an LC is if they don't have money, which immediately flips it into a PDT. And then now I already know that they need money and I already know that this business can provide that for them. So it helps so much because I'm going to sign one no matter what. And Pam always says, lead with the products, because if you lead with the business and they don't want it, are you going to turn around and be like, oh, well, how about you spend money instead? Like it doesn't make sense. So I just message for LCs.
And do you sign more people on the spot or from following up?
Mine's pretty 50-50. It just kind of depends on the day, I guess. It's pretty like 50-50. Definitely. Most of my follow-ups are people that were super interested and I followed up with like 12 different times. And then there's like the other, I don't know. It really is just like half and half.
And a lot of my girls asked how you go about sealing the deal when people say they can't afford anything, like obviously offer the business to them. But if people say they're not interested in business, they really want to try a product, they just can't afford to.
So the way my conversations go is I'll text them first and just say like, hey, it's Lara from Insta. I'll ask them, I always give them like 5 products to choose from so they're not super overwhelmed and it doesn't like give them the control. And then they'll choose from that. I give them a little info. They'll say great, and then I'll say the price. If from there they say that they can't afford it, I always ask if there's a payday that works better for them, because they might have just got paid and they paid all their bills and now they're broke for 2 weeks. So when they're saying like I don't have money for it, it might not mean forever. It might not mean that they're like penny pinching for like months on end. They might just be broke for like that week or so. So I always ask if there's one that works better for them. And normally they'll say, yes, I get paid on this day. And then you can just follow up on that day and then you'll sign them. But if they say like, no, I don't have a payday that works better, like I'm just really broke, then that opens it up to, have you ever thought of making money with me? What could $500 do for you? If I put $500 in your bank right now, what would you do? So, and when I say that, like it just makes them think, if they had $500 extra, what could I do? And when you put it into perspective for them, then it makes them want the business. And they don't look at the side of all the work and all the stuff that goes into it. They look at the money coming out of it and they'll do anything for it. And that's how I seal a deal most of the time.
And do you get people's phone numbers or do you talk to them on Instagram?
I always give their number. I don't have conversations on Instagram unless they're like, I refuse to give you my number, which like 0.1% of the time that happens. It literally never happens. Or if they're like 14 and I missed like their age, like it happens, but that's really the only time that it happens. So I always get their number. One, it's easier to talk to them because like it's faster. A DM could sit in your inbox or you could lose a DM. I lose them all the time when I go back through during the day. I find like 2 or 3 that I didn't even see. And if I have like a notification on my text, I'm like, nope, gotta read it now. Like I just don't wait. I hate notifications. And and it's also easier for them. There's voice message. So much easier. But it also helps with follow-ups and keeping up with your loyal customers. For me personally, I know I keep in touch with my loyal customers like once a week, and I'll text them. And the way that I do that is I just open my contacts, type in LC, and all my LCs pop up. And I literally can just go down the list. And on Instagram, you would have to type in their username and send them a mess. And it's just like, it's too much. So, and same with like follow-ups. I literally just open my contacts, type in PLC, and all my PLCs pop up, or type in PDT and all my PDTs pop up. And I can just go down the list.
I only have a few more questions. So if anyone has any questions for Laura, just put them in the chat. But let's see. How do you keep track of who you message?
I don't. I really don't. Like, I have no organization skills whatsoever. The only time I ever write anything down is if they tell me that they can order on a day that's not Friday. If they say they're going to order on Friday, I don't even write them down because I follow up with every single potential ever on Friday. So I'm going to get them regardless. And then that's it. Because I get their number immediately and I'm going to follow up with them every Friday. So I don't have to write anything down. And then if I've messaged them on Instagram and they just never responded, I'm going to eventually get them because I go through my followers once a month. So I don't know. Like, I have no organization skills. So when people ask me, I feel so bad because I don't organize anything. I just wing it. That's it.
So when you go through your followers, like, do you just print out the list or do you do screenshots? How do you do it?
I literally just go through it. Like when I message it, like, so on my first account, it takes me more than a month to get through it. It normally takes me like 3 months to really get through everything because I'm at 10,000 now. So it takes a while. So, sorry, my leg's falling asleep. When I go through it, I just kind of like remember where I'm at. I don't know, like I'll scroll down to the bottom and then message all the way until I can't even see anymore. And then I'll like look at the last person, and normally I can remember who the last person is, or I can tell by like, because I don't follow guys. Like, sorry if there's any guys on here. That's just, I follow them, but I don't follow them back, or they follow me. So it makes my ratio better. Because for some reason guys never unfollow you. I'm utilizing it. It's fine. And they come to me for products, but I just don't go out of my way. So I can see like a cluster of guys that I don't follow, and I'll like recognize where I'm at, if that makes sense.
I think that's all the questions I have. Someone asked, what's a typical PLC message you send out?
It normally just kind of goes the same way. I make it up as I go, but it basically just says like, hey girl, I was just looking at your profile. I think you're so gorgeous. I think you would love our products. You would get a huge discount for helping me out or like supporting me or whatever. Would you be interested? Or something along those lines. Or like, hey, like I normally never do this. I normally let people come to me first, but you seem super sweet. So I thought I would ask, would you be interested in trying a product out for 3 months at 40% off? I would love your support, or something like that. You know, I don't have like a certain script. I just kind of like wing it. Like I'll make one up during that day because I hate getting blocked, and I never get blocked anymore because I do this every single morning. I just make up a different cold message with like, I mean, we all basically say the same thing, but you just put different emojis that I didn't use the day before, or I'll put like different wording, or like one day I'll use their names, one day I'll use love. One time I tried hun and that didn't go over well, but yeah, I just switch it up a little bit.
So you think even though like you're switching it up, you get the same amount of like replies and numbers?
Yeah, because it's basically the same exact message. It's just tweaked a little bit, and I put different emojis with it. So like one day I'll use like smiley faces and like pink hearts, and like one day I'll use like the sparkle and like the pink flower, you know, like, and then change it from like their name to love, or girl, or gorgeous to pretty, or sweet to nice, you know, like just little things like that. And it helps so much with getting blocked. Just like it takes a little longer just to like create a new one, but I promise you it helps in the long run because you will never get blocked.
I love that idea. What would you say to motivate someone that has just started and like you only wanted the $200, like doesn't see like the full vision yet?
I mean, honestly, love them where they're at, because just because someone's not running now doesn't mean they won't run later. Always be there for them and like check in with them and talk to them, answer their questions, just be a leader, but it's not your job to make someone want something. You know, if somebody only wants $200, let them only make $200, make them a $400, you know, like 800 volume will get them that, or they can go executive or whatever. They catch the vision. I mean, honestly, like I didn't go to conference last year. Cassie told me you need to go to conference. And I literally was like, you're crazy. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like Cassie probably hated me at that point because I was just like, I'm sorry, I was so rude. I remember this conversation distinctly because we were just talking about it. I was like, honestly, like I just have other priorities and like, I'm good where I'm at. Like, it's fine. You know, like I just didn't care. But there's just something that clicks one day. I can't explain what it is. You just realize what you need and you realize that this can provide it and you just take off running. I mean, look at Emily Worst, you know, like she sat at, I think she said executive for like 8 months. And then all of a sudden she was like, well, shit, let's go. You know, like it just love them where they're at. Just love them where they're at, because wherever they're at is where they need to be. And they are going through something that they need to go through to get to where they're going, whether it's this business or not. So be there for them as a leader. Don't be their boss, and don't push them to go somewhere they're not ready to go yet.
And someone else asked, what keeps you from giving up?
I mean, honestly, like my why. I look at my boyfriend and I look at my dog. I mean, I don't have kids, so my dog works. She's basically a child. I look at them and like, if I gave up right now, where would we be? If I were to quit right now, if I were to just leave It Works and like just go get a job or go, that makes me want to like throw up, go anywhere, you know, am I going to get to where I want to be? You know, I want to be a millionaire by 25. Am I going to do that anywhere else? I want to be able to go anywhere whenever I want. I want to be able to take a vacation and not have to ask somebody permission. I want to be able to go pee whenever I want and not have to say, hey, you know, I got to go. Like, can I go? You got this? Like, I don't want to do that. I want to wear whatever I want. I don't want to wear pants. I just want to do what I want when I want. I want to write my own paycheck. I want to travel. I want to provide for my family. And nowhere else is going to do that. I mean, I hate to burst your bubble, but like nowhere else is going to do that. If you were to walk into any company ever, even like $1 billion company, and say, hey, I want to write my own paycheck. I want to like take as many vacation days as I want. I want to just wear what you just tell them all these things that we get to do now. They're literally going to look at you and tell you to get out, because it's not a thing. People don't get it. And we have that here. And you would be crazy to ever give it up. I don't know. That's just, I mean, personal development, obviously, but just looking at my family and looking at what this business can do keeps me from giving up every day. Every day. I don't know. Does that help? I'm super red, so if somebody's yellow, like, I'm sorry.
Awesome. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions?
You guys can unmute yourself too. You're not like restricted. It's so quiet.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing this for us.
You're welcome. I'll have, here, let me